Hello, welcome and welcome back. This is Jacob, and today we're gonna be continuing the module short story narrations for the various operators in Arknights. And today we're gonna be looking at the module short story and the module for Specter the Unchained, the very recently released alter version for Specter. Now, considering I have already talked about Specter and everything in the file narration that I did a couple of days ago for her entire file plus the voice lines, I will not talk about the usual stuff like scales and shit here. All I'm gonna say is that she is a very fun unit to play with, especially when you combine all four abyssal hunters into a single team and deploy them, cause my god, do they keep themselves alive and buff themselves up as a team. It is quite a funny thing to look at. But as the module goes, let me go over here. As the module goes, as per usual, it gives a HP increase, in this case 200, and an attack increase of 50. Now the only other thing, as you can see when I swap between the normal state and the module, is right here we get a little pop that says attack on the substitute is increased. So as a reminder, she is a doll keeper, and the whole mechanic around her is that when she quote-unquote dies, she doesn't die, but leaves the field and leaves a substitute in place. The substitute does not block, but instead does a AoE slow field of 40%, and that also does 40% of Specter's current attack as arts damage. The substitute does carry over her health as well, so it can still get targeted and die. And if the substitute dies, she is off the field and you need to place her back again once her cooldown is off. Now, right now, this doesn't seem like much, and I had to look at the wiki to see how much the increase is. If they didn't change anything right now on the global version, it should be a flat 10% increase on the substitute. And if they do it the same way they did it on the Chinese client, then when a story update drops in like a month and a half, so somewhere mid to late December, she will get instead of 10% on the increase, 15%, which is kind of a bit better, but still nothing too much. But what I will say here, and what I found on the wiki as well, is her future upgrades. So if you right now are on the fence of getting this or not getting this for her, I would personally say it's not very necessary, considering other modules and other characters and how much they even on stage 1 buff them. But in the future, on stage 2 and stage 3, this will change. And it will change especially if you play into her substitute a lot, especially with her second skill that forces her to swap into the substitute. As I said earlier, the substitute right now is 40% slow field, and by the way, it's a slow field. It's not a debuff. It's just whatever enters the field gets slowed down in movement speed. Meaning that enemies who are immune to slow debuffs can still get hit by this, and they can still go slower and be just more properly controlled. But right now it's 40% slow field, 40% arts attack field around her per second. Now, in the future, this will change. Second stage of the module is a 50% speed reduction with movement speed reduction, plus 60% attack instead of the 40. And also on top of it, when Specter pops back in instead of her substitute, she will gain a charge of 8 SP, which is essentially almost like deploying her back, considering that skill 1, 2, and 3 go respectively as 15, 25, and 20 SP when you deploy her already. And that is already massive, and it gets even better with the third stage. On the third stage, the movement speed field is 60% down, and the attack is 80% of her attack as arts damage. Plus, instead of the 8 SP, she gains 15 SP when she comes back, which is even more massive. If you're playing with the first skill, it's pretty much the same as redeploying her. And the other ones are also like pretty much already there. Her second skill is like almost halfway there, and her third skill is like one third of the way charged already. So it's quite massive if you obviously play her around the substitute mechanic. If not, well, it's not gonna have much use, obviously, outside of the raw stat buffs. But let's get into the module story, and I'll say here, this brought a smile on my face. I had to so laugh when I saw this, when I noticed what the hell is going on in this one. Like, vinyl records, and then suddenly, oh look, Sawblade. Alright. Cool. Makes sense. But yeah, let's go into the story, shall we? So, title of the module is Vinyl Record Box, and the story goes as follows. Specter draws a record from the record box and puts it on the gramophone, and melodious music arises. She has no missions today. The only thing she needs to do is let herself relax, place herself into the best possible state to be thrown into the next mission, the next battle. The record is a masterpiece of the Iberian Golden Age, bought by her of an Iberian operator's hands. Specter closes her eyes, lets herself sink into the sofa, and enjoys it in stillness. She couldn't tell you a thing about what accomplishments marked Iberia's Golden Age, but she can sense from the music the splendor of that age and how its people must have been so proud of their successes. It's not god-awful at all, she concedes. She never masks her disdain for the glories of dry land's culture, but she has no intent of applying that prejudice to the arts. Yes, prejudice. She even admits as much to the doctor while continuing on her merry way. But her insistence isn't without meaning. Besides, she believes that while her and the captain seem to have it in common, there's actually quite a distinction. The captain's arrogance comes from that good old captain purview of chief designer, but she thinks she doesn't care where her power comes from, and she's passionate about what undertakings she has these days. But still, sometimes she can't help but wonder, how has that statue in her hometown ended up? How about her hometown itself? The music comes to a cracking halt. Laurentina opens her eyes, and what gradually seeps into view is her familiar ceiling. She knows terrifyingly she'll get even more used to this environment in time. She's not panicked about it. In order to panic in a new environment, you need to not want to leave the old one. But she's practically forgotten just how her life in Ager felt to live. From the record box, she now pulls a saw blade and gently wipes over it, swapping for a new record to continue playing all the while. Maybe just as the Iberians used all the methods under the sun to record their golden age, she can try and get back into her once most beloved activity, sculpting. Her one stroke of luck, she might just be stuck away from home for a good while longer. She still has enough time to remember how it looked, she thinks, with no lack of self-mocking irony. And there we go. I do kind of like this one because it's, unlike the other one, I like some other stories that are pretty much like just a view into the past of the character, or like a mission, or a mashup of things. This one is pretty much just a look into her as a person and into her mind a bit more. And it pretty much paints the same picture as what you hear from her when she talks, or in her voice lines, or just what you get from her when you read the what's it called, the file, or even the second operator record from Specter Normal, because in that one she does speak lucidly. Considering that one, narratively wise, is taking place right after the events of Undertides, which again I would recommend to go and look at if you haven't already. Her Specter Normal's operator record takes place after Undertides and before the current side story, and on top of it, as a little mini prequel, Gladia's, and she does mention Gladia in here, funnily enough, Gladia's operator record takes place before the events of Undertides and serve as a little mini prequel of sorts of how this whole narrative starts. But yeah, enough of that. This is gonna be it. There will be also her current operator record. I still haven't had the time to record that one, but that one will be up on the channel probably in the next couple of days. But yeah, stick around, and if you want to see it, you will see it very soon. But in other news, I have a very long recording session in front of me right now with the next portion of the narration for the current side story, so I will excuse myself, and in the meantime, if you're still pulling or just starting to pull on her banner, good luck. I wish you the best. She's a very fun unit, and so is Irene, even though I got so goddamn ticked off with those pulls. But anyway, I wish you the best of luck, and I hope you have a good day wherever you are, and I will see you in the next part. Until then, bye bye.